Welcome to the Reality After Show. This is my favorite podcast that I do. Talk Villain to Me with Jonny Fairplay. And holy moly, we're joined by royalty. The queen herself, Omarosa. What are you doing here?
Trying to catch up with my old friend.
But hey, don't date us. I mean, like, what was our first
OGs,
season?
Like, right?
Yeah.
Aren't we OGs?
Yeah, we started this like 2 years ago. I mean, yeah. So,
Wait, what year is this for you?
uh,
18, 19?
Let's see, 2003, 20. This is
20 for us too.
Yeah. It's insanity. All right. I start every podcast the same and end the same. Omarosa, are you a villain?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Oh, wow. Someone owns it.
Yeah, next to my check, it's in the memo section. It says the greatest villains of all time. To spell my name right, I'm all the villain you need me to be.
All right. So let's talk the evolution of Omarosa. Okay. Who is Omarosa pre-Apprentice?
Pre-Apprentice, I was swimming in a shark-infested pool of politics. I worked in the Clinton White House, which ended in impeachment. Oh, well. But no, politics was, it was rough and tough. When I left the White House, I went into another shark-infested career, which was real estate, and did very well there. And then I answered the call for a casting to be an apprentice. So I went from the frying pan into the fire.
Okay. So you got your feet wet. I mean, you're talking, Clinton White House, impeachment proceedings, following, real estate, you name. So into this whole new genre that is new to all of mankind as we know it, reality television. I mean, we're the pioneers. You talk the early seasons of Real World, Survivor, The Apprentice. That's the beginnings of reality television. So you jump in, or are you just like, this should be fun, or what could possibly come, or did you go in going, this is going to change my life? Hold my purse. Hold my briefcase. Sorry.
Hold my briefcase, right? Actually, I did an incredible amount of research on the biggest names in reality TV. And guess what, Jonny Fairplay?
Oh.
The biggest names in reality TV were all villains, right? Yeah. Every single one of them were the biggest characters, biggest personalities, and the people that they called the villain.
Yeah.
And so I kind of knew that I could go in and be the good girl and nobody would remember me, or I can go in there and stir it up and everybody would remember me. And that's kind of exactly what happened.
Do you have an issue with the fact that a lot of the quote unquote villain pioneers didn't consider themselves villains? Like Richard Hatch doesn't, well, it depends on the day.
I was going to say Hatch is arguably one of the greatest reality TV villains of all times. I will give him his flowers right now. But in terms of owning it, how could I say I'm not a villain when I have literally made a whole career of being the biggest, loudest, most provocative personality on every show that I've gone on? So if you don't own it, then you miss an opportunity to really just be real with your fan base and with the audience.
So do you have a problem with like on the occasional day that Hatch doesn't consider himself a villain, or Jerry Manthe doesn't consider himself a villain? Or do you have a problem with that? Or is it, one of those to each their own, but you're missing out? I mean, there's a big pot still sitting here full of stuff that's all for the taking.
Yeah, I understand why they would be reluctant. It takes thick skin to be able to accept all the incoming that you get from people who just want a show of just the likable, nice, personalities. I understand that. It's hard. It really is very hard to be the most misunderstood person on the cast. But I kind of like it. I think that, Jonny, one of the things that you do is spark arguments and debates about what is right and what is wrong, what is ethical, what is, what is acceptable. And you've pushed the boundaries, right? And people walk away going, it's a game. and it's okay in the context of the game. And then there are other people who are like, what Jonny did is so awful, terrible, whatever, in or out of the game. So since you kind of bring up these huge controversial issues, then your moment on the show lasts even beyond the context of when the last episode airs. So I don't have a problem with being the center of debate, discussion, and lots of consternation from other people. But my reality TV experience is different than maybe Hatch or other people. So,
yeah. Do you consider yourself the first female villain of all time? I mean, considering like someone like a Jerry Manthe or other.
no, there was a girl who I just absolutely adored, and she came out of the real world, and her name was Coral.
Oh yeah, I know Coral very. I did a show called Camp Reality with Coral.
Right. Now that's like one of the early reality TV personalities that I would consider a villain. I don't know if Coral, considers herself a villain, but certainly she had some villainous qualities, right? So I can't say that I'm the first, because there were a lot of female personalities that were before me, but they didn't embrace it. I would say that I'm the first female reality personality that fully leaned into the idea of being that provocateur.
All right, so let's talk about your time on The Apprentice.
Okay. Which time? One, two, or three?
Yeah, it's the first one. Let's talk about your first time on The Apprentice. So you show up, you're doing some research on reality television personalities. You quickly discover that the most memorable are the bad guys, if you will, and you lean into that role. So are you sizing up every like day one? Are you just like, okay, I'm going to be the bad guy. This is my hero I'm working against, or this is the person I'm going to pick on? What's going through your head from Jump Street?
Well, Jonny, I know when you walk in, you instantly size up the other castmates. Yes. You can tell who's Miss Congeniality. You can tell who's going to be the fan favorite. You can tell who is most likely to win, right? But there are ways to win at reality TV without winning, if you know.
Yes, there are.
Right? And so my whole theory is, when I walked in, I sized up all of that. I knew who Miss Congeniality was going to be. That was Amy. I knew who most likely was going to win, who was the guy that was most like Trump. That was Bill Rancic. And I knew the person who was going to be the first out of the door. And so I went after the strongest personalities. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I started poking on the guy that they had already crowned the winner, so to speak, by way of interviews and positioning, so that I could start knocking him down a bit, you know what I mean? So that he wouldn't just slide into the end. But I also knew that I didn't want to be a part of a boring cast or on a boring reality show. I hate boring reality TV.
Yeah. Like I'm going after some of the bottom people early, just because I want them off my show, but I'm staking my claim with the big dogs of watching chapter 8, because that's when I'm firing my shot right there.
That's right.
So, but
you know what? You can get your body count up. Bottom dwellers, right?
Yeah.
But you also have to keep an eye on those folks that are going to be like top 3, top 4 for whatever reason.
Yes.
Because somehow they get there either just being authentic, but most of them get there by floating, right?
Yeah.
And being friends with everybody. So I always make people pick a side. Yeah. I always put them in a position where they got to either be for me or against me. And if they're against me, I'm taking them out. Yep. And so, my body counts. My body count gets up there because I try to go after the big ones, of course. But you got to go after the bottom feeders as well. Because if they align with that front runner, then you've got an alliance that you just really can't break up.
Yeah, I mean, well, an alliance of dullards, they're not, they're not joining with, they're scared of you, so they're not joining with you. So it's just like, okay, let me knock out a couple of these, and then and then let me get the right hand to the king, and then let me take out a couple more, and then we take
you got to take the pawns out. But fear is definitely a big element of my game. Just creating that intimidation factor that. Take your shot, but you better not miss, because you will never sleep well in this house. That's always my theory in reality TV.
Yeah, the less people sleep, I feel definitely works against them. I don't know if that'll ever come into play in the future. It's weird.
But also, when they're so busy conspiring against you, they're not looking at the bigger picture. So
Yeah,
I've always been the target. There was never a time in a competitive reality show in my 20 years on television that I was not the target. And the benefit of being an early target is that people tend to shoot and miss, right?
yep.
They try to make a big move too early, and when they miss, they expose themselves to the entire cast and yet make themselves more vulnerable. So I've always been an early target. I've always been on the block. And as you know, being nominated or being on the block is always a huge advantage because you get to go in front of the entire powers that be and the viewing audience. And you get to establish how valuable you are, how strong you are, how you can align with the right people. And it helps to position you very early in the game.
Yeah, once you're up and and you succeed, you're like you gain a level of invincibility that that someone that doesn't go up there, they don't have. You can talk a big game all you want, but it's just like, hey, I've been there, done that. What do you got?
Yeah, and you can say I've been on the block 4 times. I've come off each time. I can be
Yeah,
an asset to you. Those
yeah.
arguments have worked very well for me in the past.
All right, so talk to me. Like, I kind of have a feeling, but I guess talk to the audience. What was life as a villain in the mid 2000s? Because the world was complete. For those of you that don't know, we didn't have the social media that we have today. I mean,
We had message boards, for crying out loud, and
yeah,
like
we had,
AOL groups and stuff like.
yeah, and honest, I know I used to read the Survivor Sucks message board, and I'm sure you read, the equivalent, thereof of the Apprentice,
Right.
and read the most vile things ever that you could ever read about yourselves. But then you're like, you take a step back and you're just like, well, they're basement living losers, and they're not real people, and I'm not gonna let this affect me. And then you go to sleep at night, you're just like, and that one comment is all you think about, for 3 months, right?
It actually was my fuel. I loved it. I really did. I'm like a wrestler. The heel is always the most reviled but most sought after, the
Yeah,
most celebrated. When you're rooting against that heel in wrestling, their merchandising sale is through the
yeah,
roof, right?
you're
And it's
making our
like
money. You boo Roman Reigns. He just sold another shirt.
you just thousands of dollars of merchandise. And so I didn't mind the comments because the one beautiful thing about being a villain is being misunderstood.
Yeah,
And so when people would meet me at fan events and they'd be like, "Oh, I thought you breathed fire and
yeah.
your head spun around or something like that." And then they meet you and they're like, "Oh, I get it now." Right.
And they're a lot less tough in real life than versus on the other side of a keyboard as well.
Yeah, certainly. I've
Uh,
never really met a fan that really wanted to go toe to toe with me in person. Certainly, those keyboard warriors sitting at home, going like this. Certainly, they try to act tough, but I've never really had a bad encounter with the fan base.
what's your worst fan experience?
Um, well, it really comes, I make my money on talk shows, right? So I go into a situation. I was on a show with Wendy Williams,
Yes.
right? And so she had kind of worked up the crowd. Here's Omarosa from the Apprentice. And she's, this and that and so forth. And I come out and I literally take on the entire audience. I
Yeah.
look at them and tell them, "Oh God, you guys are just stupid," or whatever, like I play it up. But on one particular occasion on the show, her husband at the time was straight gangster. Like I thought he was going to try to come and do it because I was just tagging them, right? And that was the only time where I was like, this might be a little dangerous. But the talk shows, I'm always, doing something on the talk shows where I'm just hoping that those fans don't kind of lose their mind. But I've not had that. I mean, I've had a couple of stalkers. I think we all go through that.
Yeah.
I had a couple of fans, come to the house. Our house used to be a part of the Hollywood tour, where I used to live. So I've had fans jump the fence and that sort of thing. But other than
Nothing.
that, nothing
Yeah.
crazy, nothing
Yeah.
really crazy.
I've woken up in the ER in 3 separate states from being knocked on sucker punch from behind by a fan.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think also you're a guy.
I'm a guy.
And so they
But
think
I'm not. But I'm not though. I literally lost a final immunity challenge to a 65-year-old woman on if they're having a mental debate before they punch me, going, I wonder if I could beat up Jonny Fairplay. The answer is yes. I lost a final immunity to a 65-year-old lady in a scout uniform.
yeah, but
Yes.
you know that those competitions are designed to, doesn't matter age or gender. That's how they design them. And on any given day, you can win a challenge. Hell, I won the wall challenge, first Black woman to do so, by the way, on Big Brother. Who would have thunk it that I held on to the wall challenge longer than any of those folks? And they were half my age. They were
Well,
21 years old.
Still, you see Jonny Fairplay, like, you're not wondering if you can beat me up. I don't think anyone is wondering that. And to the 3 people that felt the need to sucker punch me, like, as I said, I'll sign a certificate saying you beat up Jonny Fairplay in a fight and frame it for you and have it JSA certified. I don't care. I mean,
I need to just say that you didn't deserve that. And I think that fans can, in that situation, or foes, I don't know what to call them, fanatics, because they're not fans. I
don't think they're fans. You're right. I take that back.
Right. I think they're fanatics and they take things too far. But you don't deserve to be, assaulted like that.
What's been your best fan experience?
My best fan experience has been going to different countries. Because, in the US, where your fan base is.
Yeah.
But going into other countries and, I went to the Great Wall of China and which it was about 4 of us together. And I, at the height of The Apprentice, thinking this is a great place to get away. And I was surrounded by hundreds of people on the Great Wall of China. It's not easy to get down from the Great Wall, by the way. And so I had to stand there for like 2 hours taking pictures and, signing things and hugging people and so forth, because there was no escape. That was the only time where I was like, yeah, I should have probably not come out without a full disguise on and probably had more people with me. That was the only time where I was like, this is amazing, but scary at the same time.
It would be very difficult for you to disguise yourself, Omarosa. I got to be honest with you.
I've done pretty well lately. You know what I mean? I found ways where I realized that if I'm in a business suit and 5-inch stilettos, everybody know it's me. But if I'm in sneakers, T-shirt, and really casual, that's not the Omarosa that they see in the boardroom on The Apprentice.
So can't be her.
Can't be her. What would she be doing here? Why, that kind of thing.
Hold on, I'm going to my questions. Do you have it your way? No, I'm sorry. I'm just reading your lines from your Burger King commercial with Joel McHale.
With Joel McHale.
Sorry, I don't know how that got in there. All right. This is coming up later, but I'll go ahead and get. So we know you did Celebrity Big Brother, but a lot of people may not know this. You did Australians Big Brother VIP, which is their Celebrity Big Brother.
Yeah, I love going to other countries doing reality.
What's the perception of Omarosa in Australia?
So Australians are big fans. Only problem is they get the shows like ages later. So if it airs here in 2003, it's airing there in like 2005.
Yeah.
So they wanted to talk about, shows that were from the past. And I kind of realized that they were still, just kind of catching up. Sure. So they were just still off of the hype of like Celebrity Apprentice All-Stars or something like that one. So it's the same thing. Fans are very excited to meet you, support you, engage with you. And there's some cultural things that you deal with when you're in Australia. Being really tough and in your face as a woman is a little, I think, unusual for them. So I had to tone it down just a little bit. But I teamed up with like the rugby players.
Wasn't Luke Toki out there?
I love Luke. Yeah. He was one of my allies for sure. Yeah. I loved Luke. Wait, what did he play? Was he?
He was on Australian Survivor.
I was like, what is it? He was very athletic. He was more athletic than the rugby players.
Yeah, he's on Australian Traders that's just about to come out.
Oh, wow.
So I'm curious how he'll feel. Like we were talking about, I do a Patreon Q&A where peek behind the curtain, and we were talking if he's not chosen to be a trader out of the gate, because I think people are going to guess that Luke's a trader. So if he's not chosen to be a trader out of the gate, and then a trader chooses him halfway through to join the traders, I see Luke winning. But I think if he's a traitor out of the gate, they'll guess. And if he's, I can see it. I feel like it's going to take a perfect storm for Luke Toki on the traitors format because he's just, I mean, he screams traitor.
I love Luke. I never want to compete with him again. He's going to win every single time. He has the great balance of being a physical threat without looking like a physical threat and not coming across as a physical threat. And he has amazing social game. I mean, absolutely amazing social game. And I love playing with a player who is as smart as Luke. And so I miss him. He actually sent me this huge care package a while ago with all of my favorite things from Australia that I couldn't get from here. And he's coming to Disney with his kids to visit me in Florida. So sometimes you luck up and you make these lifelong relationships on reality TV. I think that that's the biggest gift you can get from these experiences besides, of course, the big check. But
so, all right. We mentioned earlier, and they might have brought this up when you were doing Australian Survivor or Australian Big Brother, since they're a few years behind. So you were part of the Clinton administration, and then much more famously with the Trump administration. Just one follow-up question: are there UFOs?
That's the question you ask after asking me before. Well, of course, there are UFOs because they have a whole commission. Who's told you there's UFOs? The one thing, once you get your clearance, the first thing I asked was like, okay, I've got this huge clearance. I'm like, I want to see the aliens because, there's this rumor that there are aliens that have been dissected and, autopsies have been performed on them. That was the biggest thing I wanted to see. I wanted to see the tunnels underneath the White House. And I wanted to see the aliens. Because of my clearance, I can't disclose anything about whether or not I got to see those things. But when I walked in, I was like, okay, show me the
Where's the aliens?
Right.
Yeah. So, Trump was president. Is he even in the news these days? I don't even know. Okay.
No, I haven't seen much lately from the guy. I wonder what he's doing these days. Right. No.
Playing golf?
Playing golf at his resort. I don't know.
Playing golf. You are politically independent currently, correct?
I'm an independent, yes.
Okay. All right. I know people would probably want me to ask that question.
I'm glad you asked because I've served in both the Republican and a Democratic White House. I've seen both sides of the political spectrum from the extremes, both extremes. And I just think I fit really well right here in the middle.
Right in the middle. So,
yeah.
You like our chances as a country moving forward? You think there's blue skies ahead?
Only if Jonny Fairplay runs for president.
Oh, jeez.
4 more years.
Wow. Oh my God. You want to see impeachments? I got.
You ain't seen nothing yet, Jonny Fairplay.
Absolutely. Real quick, comparing Celebrity Big Brother US to Australia. Like no comparison. Was the US Survivor kind of like a dream come true?
US Survivor, I actually met. Can you hear that thundering? I actually met Allison years before Celebrity Big Brother, and she says, hey, we're thinking about doing Celebrity Big Brother. I said, hey, count me in if you ever do it. Said the same thing to Jeff Probst, but that still hasn't happened yet.
Sure.
So I said that to her 10, 15 years ago. And then she calls me and she's like, we are actually doing Celebrity Big Brother. Are you down? I said, I'm sorry. I'm working in the White House right now. So I can't do it. But luckily enough, the timing worked out. You've got to hear all that going on behind.
It's insanity. It's great.
Oh my God. There is literally a huge storm going on. Can you hear the car?
We hear it. It's ambiance. It's
okay. Good. It's not stopped, so I'm just going to keep talking.
Is that you? It's not yours, is it?
It's not my car, and this is not my wonderful home. But
I would imagine you had different blinds. So. All right, Omarosa's frozen in time now. She should be back here shortly. Whoop. Oh, the power just went out at Omarosa. Holy crap. Wow, this is a first. Let's see. Oh, and okay, so we're gonna do a quick detour here. Aha, here we go. Omarosa is cutting edge technology. turn your phone sideways as you.
So you cannot make this up.
You're in a full scale thunderstorm right now.
I mean, there's a full blown thunderstorm happening right now. I'm about to die during your show. Do you see the flashing behind me?
I see flashing behind. This is insanity. So,
oh my God, I'm freaking gonna die. Look at
Omarosa, don't die. We're trying to make a podcast magic here. Oh my God.
Johnny, I'm gonna have to say to you, for the interest of safety, I'm just gonna wrap this up and just say that
here we go.
Could not have been correct. Yeah,
I have a final question for you, Omarosa, and I will let you go.
Wait, as I'm sitting in the dark, are you gonna set up that I'm in a blackout? Because
yes, final question. Where can everybody find you?
Oh, please follow me on all platforms. I'm at Omarosa, Omarosa. You can always go to my website, omarosa.com. And Johnny, I think truly you are legendary. And as a villain, chef's kiss.
Thank you very much. Oh, last thing. Are you a villain?
Oh, absolutely.
There we go.
But a sexy kind of, friendly kind of villain.
Omarosa, you're one of my favorite villains. Love you so much. Thank you. Everybody go follow Omarosa and pray that Omarosa doesn't go away in a hurricane right now.
There's a storm right now. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.